That's your boy ICU's calling card. There it is. Just like Home Alone. All they did was cut the water on and kept it flowing.
What's so funny? You did it again, didn't you? You left the water running, didn't you? What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card. All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits.
You're sick. You know that? You're really sick.
I'm not sick.
Yes, you are.
I'm not
That's
sick.
That's a sick thing to do.
It's not-
That's my actual calling card. Now, when the rotational axes of the Earth, perpendicular to the square, when those entities all become one and our energy syncs with the universe, and we declare war on our opponent, whatever our opponent may be, we need to sync that energy against the formidable opponent, because we understand that we only get one shot at this. Just like the auditor and the code enforcement officials that did the checks on the Champlain Towers in Florida, built on sandstone, built on a weak foundational surface as is, was up for recertification. Those individuals that recertified that building needed to live by this mantra: you have one shot at this. You don't put your name to that document. You don't put your John Hancock on that document unless every crack is sealed, unless all those rebar exposures are manufactured and fixed, unless we understand that there was fraud within the blueprints, that they added a floor. What are we going to do to reinforce this floor? Oh, it's being charged out to the staff and to the tenants because they all owned a portion of that building. I'm charging every one of those tenants an extra 3-4 G's because they added a floor in the blueprints when they shouldn't have done that. We have to dabble and live within the nuance. I would have never signed off on those documents. It would have saved a lot of lives. And we are going to lean on scripture. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah, book 29, verse 11. Now, once we have synchronized our energy that we have been preparing and harnessing, and we synchronize it with the Earth's energy perpendicular to the square, we then become our alternate being to fight this formidable opponent. When I go into that alter ego and I transform, my alter ego will be in the form of younger to grow. Once the energy sinks and we have accepted our alternate form, and we are met in eye to eye with the formidable opponent, understand we only get one shot at this. Training and body preparation will have to be on an elite level in order to accept the terms of what I will become. We then at that point have to ask ourselves, what will be our formidable opponent? This opponent will need to be an opponent that you, at the beginning of your journey, think that it will take an army of men to attack and kill. You have to think that it's almost impossible for you to even come out victorious against this formidable opponent. But just like kinetic energy and stored energy, the more that we move, the more that we work, the more energy we expend on pursuing this mission and honing in on our maximum potential, the work becomes easy because the kinetic energy is flowing, and it's almost like the pinball effect, where when we hit it off the bumper, when you hit it off the bumper again, you're actually using the reactive force of the bumper, and you get double the amount of energy output. That is a consistency factor. We can use physics and science to manipulate our minds and bodies to perform these tasks. If we put our mind to it, I am giving you the blueprint to follow. And if followed, you will age less quickly, your mind will become fortified, and you will reach any goal or task you set out to achieve. I will, and you will, equally. So I will ask you right now, what will be your formidable opponent in this very short and beautiful time that we have here in this thing called life? Younger Toguro, once I transform, the positive benefit and balance, what that will training and regimen will have to be at an elite level. At the elite of the elite, think back to your greatest time. Individuals that say, Father Time is here, or you're not in your prime, or you're not this, or you're not that. You will have to accept your best form in order to transmutate into your alter ego.
It's not fear that's holding me back, though. It's curiosity. I just need to know what he's got.
So, that's full power. It's more than I
The
hoped.
reason I've chosen Younger Toguro is because when I accept the challenge and I initiate battle, my character will attack and gain 1000 XP until the match ends. I will grow and grow and grow and grow, and I will get stronger as the match continues. My training must be perfect.
You're dead to me. I'm sorry, but blood can only run so thick. This will be a fair fight with you. Down to the letter. This time we fight for real.
You bet.
Once our bodily form has transmutated into our alter ego, if all metrics have been established and maintained to transmutate into this new form, we will grow at 1000 XP until the match is over, until the match concludes. I want you to understand that this alter ego, when utilized, can make your brain go into overdrive when it
This
needs
time we fight for
to
real.
go into overdrive. No nos. I am destined to reach my primitive and peak form. Not yesterday, not then, not before, but in the future. It is to be acquired. This goes for me And for you, yes, you out there, whoever you are, you have yet to reach your peak physical form. You have yet to reach physical form. You have yet to reach physical form. Your peak physical form. You have yet to reach your peak physical form. We must go harder. We must reach our full potential. Understand, this is not our goal. This is our own treaty to oneself. This is our destiny. Failure is not an option. When we meditate and accept these terms internally with ourselves to commit to this lifestyle, it is a never-ending journey. It will never stop, and there is never any room to accept or make any premonitions of failure. We treat this like Sodom and Gomorrah. When God struck these two cities down, struck them dead because it was provoked by man's sin, the Lord God brought angels down and told Lot and his wife and his two daughters, leave before God destroys this city. Genesis 19:13. Do not look back. And as they fled, the angels warned them, escape for your life and do not look behind you and do not stay anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away. Genesis 19:17. It's no coincidence that God himself, God incarnate, doesn't even make us do 20-page flips of any variation of the Bible. And we get this biblical story told by man through God. The Lord said when he parted from Lot, the Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, look around from where you are to the north, south, east, and west. All the land you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Every little dust particle. That's how his procreation will spider out into the world. Walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. He basically gave him a country. But Lot was a hardhead. Jesus gave clear-cut plans to Lot on what to do. But Genesis 19 verse 18 says, but Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life, but I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me and I'll die. Look, here is a town near, enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. Then God obliged for the moment, just for the moment, and Genesis 19 verse 21 says, he said to him, very well, I will grant you this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. This is why the town was called Zor. As we will read here, the last sin, quote unquote sin, that the individuals from Sodom and Gomorrah were about to commit was homosexuality. As we see here, this is right before Sodom and Gomorrah is destroyed. The night before they all leave, the two angels arrive in Sodom in the evening. Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. Verse 2 says, my lords, he said, please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night and then go on your way early in the morning. No, the angels answered, we will spend the night in the square. But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered in his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. Verse 4 states that before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so we can have sex with them. Yes, one of the reasons why God had Sodom and Gomorrah burnt down to the ground, burnt to a crisp, was because the residents of Sodom and Gomorrah were trying to have sex with the angels that were trying to come to save them and take them away from that wicked place. Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind them, and he said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them, but don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." You want to ask any priest in November of 2024 the question, is homosexuality actually still a sin in 2024? I'd hate to be a priest and have to answer that question because I don't have to answer it. I'm cool with both sides, you feel me? But I don't have to answer that question. I know that the Lord loves all. That's all I know. He will accept and love all. So I can't dabble in that nuance. That's up for the priest to decipher. So priest, you can decipher that. I'm going to say that my God, the Lord that I love, he accepts and loves all. You feel me? So I'm reading you the scripture. I'm telling you what happened. But that's what I believe. So the Lord saw this, and these men were sex crazed, and the men didn't want the women. They were inside and reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then God struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. The 2 men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, son-in-law, daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." If we read between the lines, yes, God blinded them so they couldn't find the door, technically. He blinded them so they wouldn't be grabbing each other's, starting to go to work and bending each other over, pretty much. That's a nice way of saying I blinded them, boys, so they didn't just start barging through the door and going after Lot. They wanted the angels, but they would have taken Lot's backside too. They would have went after Lot and literally had their fun with Lot. So the angels and God protected these individuals from not being able to see the door, but from also not being able to find Lot, to have their fun with Lot. This is what the angels are telling Lot. So after Lot and his daughters flee to the mountains after leaving Zoar, Genesis 19:31 says, "One day the oldest daughter said to the younger, 'Our father is old, and there is no man around here to give us children, as is the custom all over the earth. Let us get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him, and preserve our family line through our father.' That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the older daughter said to the younger, 'Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight. You go in and sleep with him, so we can preserve our family line through our father.' So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up." Verse 36 says, "So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger daughter also had a son." What the for any of you misogynists out there, yeah, we have to give it to the older daughter for making that executive decision and literally saying, "All right, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm actually going to lose my virginity to my pops." Let that sink in. In order for us to even have genealogy today, for the human race to not expire, the oldest daughter of Lot had to sleep with pops and lose her virginity to pops, and so did the younger daughter. But she made the executive decision, like, all right, well, we got to keep this train rolling. I'm gonna sleep with pops, but let's get him some wine and let's get him turned up, and then we'll you know, we'll get it done. And so I'm glad they had that 100% success rate with both daughters, because that would be atrocious having to do that all over again. One time is enough. But we literally have the lineage of the human race expand simply because the daughters had to sleep with the father. Imagine being in that predicament. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we know from prior scripture that they were both virgins. Lot was trying to coerce the guys to be like, yo, don't go that route. I got some daughters in here if you want to, you know what I'm saying? If you want to turn up in here. They were like, nah. And so God basically said, okay, if you guys want to turn on each other and just start, having orgies and all that, I'm just going to burn it all down. So that was the last straw. Like, okay, you guys want to have, like, technically, like, that was the first freak off. Pretty much. That was literally the first freak off was in Sodom and Gomorrah. Technically, I mean, hey, we're just being real matter of fact. The first freak off was in Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord literally burnt that whole joint down. Okay? This is just a small story in the opening book of the Bible that's super lit. Super lit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, let me tie a nice bow on it for you. What are the two entities that are on polar sides of the argument when it comes to biblical relevance? Science and believers. So when we see an article with a science tag on it, and experts are finding compelling evidence that Sodom was destroyed by a, quote, atom bomb. Last year at this time, and we literally see a science-based article referencing biblical stories. This is not a fabrication. Archaeologists are actually coming to the table. Theologians are actually intertwining biblical stories and science. It says here, when they made the shocking discovery of human remains at the site, human skeletons are complete up until about halfway up the backbone. And then there's just a scorch mark, leaving nothing left. They say that the energy levels that were accrued when this asteroid hit were equivalent to the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The event also appears to have generated significant amounts of salt, much like the biblical account of Lot's wife being turned into a pillar of salt after the destruction. Now, this has changed his perspective on the Old Testament. When I tell you and I show you that scientists are coming to the table and correlating biblical stories with fact, and then the conspiracy theorists want to flip it and say, oh, well, no, the asteroid hit, and this is how biblical enthusiasts are saying the story happened. No, they are actually saying when the asteroid hit and they saw it, when the Lord rained down the event on the masses for how they were going about life. And I just showed you the individuals of the city literally saw two men that they liked. The men of the city were denying Lot's daughters and trying to coerce the angels there for a purpose for sex. The whole city, everything there was corrupt. It needed to go. So at the very next second, God blinded them. Not only can we correlate these facts, but we can also tie it to Lot's lineage and how he had to literally use the only women, and the women used the only Johnson available. And I'm not talking about the last name Johnson, because there was no Johnsons yet. I'm talking about this Johnson. Yeah, you can correlate it with his lineage. And see, this is all reality, folks. We find that these archaeologists are finding human remains where the whole body is complete up until the spine, up until literally the backbone, and half of their bodies are burnt to a crisp. These are not games, okay? You cannot go ahead and flip the narrative and say Bible enthusiasts are oh, they're fabricating. No, if in the Bible it's saying that people saw Lot's wife turn to a pillar of salt, how do you get that from an event that had already occurred? It's not possible. Start to believe these stories, because they are not a fabrication of real events. They are, in fact, real events. Now, we know the story of Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah, but we need to talk about the backstory. In Genesis 13, verse 12, before Lot got to Sodom, Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. And we go back to the map, or geography map. We know that Zor in red is on the bottom tip of the Dead Sea in Jordan. We know that Lot pitched his tent, as you can see there, above Sodom and Gomorrah, roughly 10 Ks, or roughly 7 or 8 miles from Sodom and Gomorrah. So do you see how it took a lot for him to get to Sodom? But do you understand now where when he got to Zor, he's like, bro, you sure this is it? Like, are you sure this is all? He had already walked, him and his daughters walked from when the Lord told him to go. It wasn't like they turned and she turned into a pillar of salt and this asteroid dropped right there. No, they've got to walk. Look at the equivalent there. They've got to walk 13, 14 miles, maybe 20 miles. So this was a day trek. And they were told not to look back. When she looked back is when she was turned into a pillar of salt. This was equivalent to the amount of energy that was used in the Hiroshima bomb. So you understand how he was told to go south. He walked about 15 miles south. This wasn't just a dead turnaround. Like, no, you need to walk straight. Do not look back for days on end. And look at this. Look how fractured this all is. Look how fractured this all is. I literally want to go from where I believe that Zor is. I want to go up to where Lot originally came up on the hill, right? And it's all fucked. You can't just cross right through. You'll get sniped in the head. Like, it's insane. Like, you literally have to go all the way around to go, it's literally a 5-mile distance. You would have to go 1,600 miles to go 5 miles. This is insane. She peeked back just a quick, just a little turn, and then because those asteroids were falling, this event, we can 100% correlate with real life archaeologic findings that show these skeletal remains had no upper half, no upper body. Right at the backbone, it was charred to a crisp. They did the testing on the charred remains, and that's how they could find that the energy exchange was that type of explosion and that type of heat exchange, because they could see the charred, they could see the actual charcoal skeleton was turning into. Since the Dead Sea on this geography globe and on normal maps, the lower half of the Dead Sea is washed out with drought and lackluster with water, so that bottom half, basically where Moab starts and Lot's tent was, all of Sodom, Gomorrah, all that was basically, there was no water there. It was washed out. And Lot was being a lazy ass and saying like, oh, okay, there's this little city right next door, like it's water and everything. Can I just go over there? The Lord was like, bro, I told you what to do already. 20 miles that direction. And he needed to just beeline it for that direction, because he ran into some turmoil and ended up losing his wife, because his wife was over here trying to peek back, and when she peeked back, she literally just went zzz. Correlate this whole entire book of the Bible in this story of Lot, Sodom and Gomorrah, that we cannot budge or break or fold. If we tell ourselves we're going to do something, we have to do it. We can speak things into existence. If you want something bad enough, your mind, body, and soul, as one complete unit of energy, attached to the gravitational pull of the earth, along with the prayer chain and the energy of the prayers that we send up to the Lord, along with meditation and abstinence, to resonate on the right frequency, to align with the spiritual frequencies and the mind frequencies we need to be on, we can set goals. Nothing's out of our reach, guys. That's the moral of today's video. That we need to be hyper focused on our goals. And if somebody's like, hey, let's party tonight, you tell them like, I'll party in the summertime. Let me take this fall. Let me take the winter. Let me take the spring. And in the beginning of, the year, let me go ahead and grind out. I'll come back and holler at you in March, in April, when I'm ahead of the game, not trying to catch up. Because we know life is all about preparation. The one who prepares the best is going to win. Except if it was Mike Tyson 20 years ago against Jake Paul. He could have woken up, not done anything, and knocked him out. I remember Iron Mike being like a monster. And the memories we always have to keep with us, because those memories will fuel us to proceed forward. But I'm showing you that my ideology and my alter ego of using Young Turgle. Round 1, he's at 1000 XP. We need to build our strength and endurance, mind and body endurance up to where when we go into round 2, we are actually stronger. We did not fatigue, we went up. Round 3, I gain another 1000 XP. Imagine if Mike Tyson would have emulated this thought process. Round 4, 4000 XP. Round 5, yes, you've taken a little damage, so you get your 1000 XP, but you have deducted 250 XP off of that because you've taken some blows. I'm still up. 750 XP plus the 2000 XP. Round 4, I'm knocking him out.
In there is instinctive. What he sees, what he picks up, and how he reacts off the nuances of his opponent and then gets there fast is what separates him from the other fighters, even the other elite. Fair. I don't think there's ever been.
Now, this man, Money Floyd Mayweather, is one of the only ones I've seen use this XP method. He will incrementally get better as the fight goes on. Lance Armstrong was another one. Epopoetin was in his blood, and part of his blood was flowing. Let's just put it that way, so we can't gauge his metrics. But I would say Floyd Mayweather is one of the only ones who has really adopted this mantra of, we start at 6, we go to 7.5, we go to 9, we go to 9.5. We know that 10.2, we can only go up to 10.2. That's over our max of 10 for literally milliseconds or seconds. So he'll ramp up, round 8, I'm at 9, round 9, I'm at 9.7, and then round 10, I'm at 10.2, and then I got to come back down to 10. It's the perfect parabolic structure. He is the best of the best with no losses. He's never lost.
Stay stumbling words, you suck with your verses. And you really wanna battle me? We rumble at first, the homie, that's a casualty. Bumblebees buzzing, please get your mind right. Cause I can spit against 9 mics. That's 5 Mike Jordans, 2 Mike Jacksons, 1 Mike Tyson, 1 Vic, what's happening?
And I have to thank my boy Trev for this. Travis Hart. You know what I'm saying? Hart Productions. Big Hart. One of the best trainers in the game right now. Actually, the best trainer in the game right now when it comes to performance athletes, professional athletes. I would say he's at the top. He's the one that really opened my eyes. Like, yo, Mayweather is that dude. And what does he do? He starts off his training sessions by running 2 to 3 miles. So I'm telling Iron Mike, yo, look, if you can't run 2 miles straight, you are not going to enter the ring. I'm starting Iron Mike off by running and building him from the bottom up. We already know he has slugging power, but we need to do mobility. We need to do cone drills. We need to do 4 cone drills. We need to do dot drills. We need to do quick plyometrics. We need to do heavy jump rope. I didn't see Mike do any jump rope in his camp.
The young boy who was hitting the heavy bag very ferociously and said, "That's Mike Tyson." And we said, "Yes, we heard that he was here." He said, "Yes, not only is he here, but he will undoubtedly go on to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history, even younger than Floyd Patterson, who also was trained and managed by Cus D'Amato."
Like my father.
Easier said than done, right? This training footage was 40 years ago. So let's see if we are able to do dot drills and box drills. And I don't care if it's a 12-inch box or a 10-inch box. You know, just getting the routine, even if it's at 60% of what you used to do it at, or 40 even, it still has to be implemented in our routine. That's going to be my mantra moving forward. So I will check back in 40 years. Hopefully YouTube is around in 40 years and social media is available and all that. And I will come back and let people know what my findings are. Because it's easier said than done. I will use that quote for sure. It's easier said than done. But I do believe that everything we used to be able to do, we still should try to implement in our lives. That's the overall sentiment here. We have to have the bandwidth in our brain to encapsulate the right information, quality information. Not what our favorite TikToks are of the year. Okay, guys? I would have started off with jump ropes, plyos, legs, and got him from the ground up because we know his punching power was already there. So I'm just showing you that anyone can do anything at any time. I use this analogy. If Elon Musk sits you down and said, "You want to be CFO of X?" Are you going to be like, oh my God. No, you're going to be like, "Oh, fuck yeah. I could run that. You know what I'm saying? I could run this company. Show me the ins and outs. Show me the algorithm. Show me the analytics. And show me where the servers is at. Let's run it." We have to be ready for our moment when that moment comes. Are you guys ready? I'm getting there. I want to get better. But I want this video to be a challenge to anyone who watches it to always strive to do just a little bit better. We can do a little bit. We can do a little bit more. We can do just a little bit more. That includes myself. It's an upward parabolic data chart. Follow with me now, because we're correlating all the books in the Bible, the wavelengths, the physics, and the math and science. They all tie together. Everything in life is intertwined. It is the most powerful story that if we betray God or we betray our own intellect, our own mission and purpose, if we flinch and look back 1 millimeter, it's over. We don't have blinders. We aren't horses. We don't put on blinders. We are forced to make our own decisions and to walk the path that we are set out on. But that path cannot deviate 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter, or else that other person has now gotten better than you and now gotten better than me. We need to understand that football is a game of inches. Life is a game of millimeters, centimeters, and incremental caliper measurement that is measured down to the 100th and 1000th decimal. Life sometimes can be that precise and that accurate. Ask Donald Trump. I would also say ask Crooks, but he's dead. That internal acceptance to finalize and reach this goal. We cannot look back. Like God told Lot and the angels told Lot's family, run. His daughters ran close behind, but his wife, at the very last second, turned back behind him and looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Genesis 19:26. She lagged behind. She turned and wanted to watch the flaming sulfur fall from the sky, consuming everything she valued. If you want to accept your old life, if you ever say, "I wish I had it like this," and you are not accepting the journey that you have agreed upon in your heart of hearts, the treaty you have signed in blood. In that same blood, we know that 1 drop of semen is equivalent to 10 drops of blood. That same blood is coursing through your circulatory system. So you've already made this contract and pact with yourself. There is no going back. You made this contract when you first breathed air in the first seconds of you being on this earth. There is no going back now.
Did Lot do? He lingered. Oh, my dear friends, some of you have lingered for far too long. Some of you have lingered for far too long in the pleasures of this life. You love the parties, you love the nightclubs, you love the bars, you love all of the trappings that this world can offer you. And God is telling you to flee for safety in the arms of the Lord.
When you look over your shoulder of the things that you used to value, when you hesitate and think of failure, for 1 split second, it's all over. There is no starting from scratch like a video game. It is all over. Once you watch this video and you accept these terms, using your alter ego and your mantra for success to reach this goal, you can never look back. Or just like Lot's wife, you will turn into a pillar of salt. The time is now. I start now. Do you? We only have 1 life to live. Y'all know who it is. It's ICU. And everything about us is Blue Collar. We gets it out the mud. Please stay tuned.